Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Rizwan Hassan, Assistant Professor, Department of Finance and Economics. Today we are discussing the topic of model building and hypothesis testing in the course of advanced research methods. As you know, we have discussed many things regarding research techniques, research procedure, research approach, as well as research proposal. When we are conducting the research, after discussing and after finalizing the topic, the second step is we have to build a model. What is model? Model is basically a collection of variables indicating their relationship. So first is model building, and then how hypotheses are tested. These two topics are discussed in this lecture. First is model building. Okay, normally in research process, model are built or model are specified on different bases. Sometimes we build a model on the basis of theory. For example, according to economic theory, there are different relationships. For example, there is an inverse relation between price and quantity demanded. So it is an inverse relation. So we can build a model according to this theory. Similarly, there is a relationship between consumption and income. As income increases, consumption also increases. So there is a positive relationship between income and consumption. So sometimes models are finalized or models are built on the basis of theory. The second way of model building is previous research. We go through previous literatures and we review literature, and on the basis of review literature we select a model, and this is another way to build a model. Third is self-model building. Self-model building is on the basis of our study, on the basis of our experience, on the basis of our own understanding on any specific issue, on any specific situation. We can build a model at our own. But it is normally carried out when we have some experience and when we have some supervisors, when we have some monitors or mentors. So in the initial stage, it is not good to build a model on our own. We have to base economic theory on. We have to build model on the basis of previous research. Okay, now I am showing you the example of a model. Here, y is the function of k, ex, and hr, and it is in the shape of function. But when we want to estimate this equation, we have to transform this equation in the second form, which is y is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 k plus beta 2 x plus beta 3 hr plus mu. What do we mean by y? Y is the output or GDP, and sometimes it may be GDP per capita also. Then k means the availability of fixed capital in the country, which is also called gross fixed capital formation, which is available in a country. It is all the physical capital, which means buildings and factories and bridges and all the infrastructure. It is collectively it is called fixed capital in a country. Then ex represents amount of exports. The merchandise exports which a country is exporting on a periodical basis. It may be on monthly basis, or it may be on half yearly basis, or it may be on annual basis. Third variable in our model is HR, which indicates level of human resource. Level of human resource means what is the quantity of human resource available in a country. For human resource in economic theory, there are different proxies which are used. For example, secondary school enrollment, it is also called human resource. Sometimes overall literacy rate can be used as a human resource. Sometimes higher level of higher education is considered as human resource. So there are different proxies which are used for the level of human resource. Here this is our third variable in our model. Then mu. Mu represents error term or residual. What does it mean? It means there are some other variables which are not included in this equation, but they have some effect on output. Because in a country there are so many variables, so many indicators, so many factors, so many elements which affect on GDP. It may be rate of saving, it may be level of remittances, it may be overall good governance. So there may be many factors which affect on GDP, which affect on output, which are not included in our equation. So the effect of all these variables is captured by residuals, right? So this is the description of our model. Then now we have estimated this equation. As I have shown you the operation of E-views, with the help of E-views we can estimate this equation. So here we are not showing the overall process of estimation, but the results after estimation are shown in this video. Y is equal to 121 plus 00 plus 0.231 K plus 0.11 X plus 0.02 HR plus mu, right? So this is the result of estimation. When we put all the variables in our E-views, after inserting all the values of these variables in the E-views, and then we are getting the estimation results, and these results are shown here, right? Then what does the results show? The results are showing that all the variables like fixed capital or exports or human resource level, all of them, they have positive impact on GDP. If they increase, GDP also increase. It is the meaning of positive impact. But really they have significant effect. Really significant impact or positive impact is reliable, or we can conclude that they have positive impact. So for significance of these impact and for reliability, we go for hypothesis testing, right? Hypothesis testing is one of the very important step, one of the very important part in all research. And as a matter of fact, in every research we are basically testing the hypothesis. We make some hypothesis, and on some statistical analysis we are testing these hypotheses, right? And there are two hypotheses, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So here we have developed three null hypotheses. One is for fixed capital, another is for exports, and third is for human resource. What do these hypotheses say? They say that fixed capital has no effect on GDP. This is our null hypothesis regarding fixed capital. For exports, there is second null hypothesis, and the hypothesis says that exports have no effect on GDP. And according to third null hypothesis, human resources have no effect on GDP, right? So these are our hypotheses, and basically in the research we have to test these hypotheses, and we want to reject this hypothesis. If we reject, it means that, for example, first null hypothesis says that fixed capital has no effect. If we reject this null hypothesis, it means fixed capital has some effect on GDP, right? Uh, Similarly, exports have no effect on GDP. If we reject this null hypothesis, it means that exports have some effect on GDP. Similarly, third null hypothesis is that human resources have no effect on GDP. And if we reject this hypothesis, it means human resources have some effect on GDP, right? So, first step is rejecting or accepting the null hypothesis. If we reject, for example, we reject first null hypothesis, which means fixed effect has some effect on GDP, right? So, what is its effect, and how much the effect is reliable, right? For this reliability and for the correctness and for the accuracy, we go for another step. The step for this step, we have to understand two things. In rejecting or accepting null hypothesis, there are two types of errors. First is type 1 error, and another is type 2 error, right? Type 1 error means when we reject null hypothesis while it is true. For example, we reject null hypothesis, and as you know, first null hypothesis is fixed effect has no effect on GDP. We reject this null hypothesis, but it may be true, right? Similarly, exports have no effect on GDP, but we reject this null hypothesis, but it may be true. Similarly, human resources have no effect on GDP, and we reject this null hypothesis, it may be true. So how we can test that when we reject, is it all right or not? For this, as I told you, we have to understand these two things. Type 1 error, when we reject null hypothesis while it's true. So when it is correct, when we reject null hypothesis, it is correct. How it is carried out? It is carried out on the basis of two things: p value and t value. Right? When we estimate in E-views, after these beta values, which are also called coefficients, along with coefficients, these results are shown in the form of a table, right? In this table, there are four columns. The first column is the column for coefficient. Second column is for standard error. Third is for t statistics, and fourth is the probability, right? So third and fourth column are very important. In third column, t value is given, and fourth column, p value is also given. The results are significant when t value is higher than 2 or when t value is equal to 2. What does it mean? This will be explained in advanced econometrics. Here you just understand that when t value is equal to 2 or it is higher than 2, it means the coefficient is significant. Coefficient for variables. Here coefficients are for exports, coefficients are for fixed capital, coefficients are for human resource. If t value is equal to 2 or if t value is more than 2, it means these coefficients are significant. What does it mean? It means that their value is significant, right? So it is rule of thumb that we say that coefficient is significant when t value is 2 or more than 2, right? But there is another thing. As I have told you, there are chances of type 1 error, that we reject null hypothesis while it is true. For this step, we refer to p value. So in the last column, p values are given. The p value may be 0.01 or less than this value, or higher than this value, it may be 0.05, maybe 0.15, it may be 0.65. When the p-value is 0.01, what does it mean? It means that 0.01 is equal to 1%. So what does it mean? It means that there is only 1% chance of type 1 error, or there is only 1% chance that we reject null hypothesis and it's true, right? For example, if p-value is 0.05, 0.05 means p-value is 5%. 5% means there are 5% chances that we are rejecting the null hypothesis while it is true. Similarly, if p-value is 0.65, it means 65%. What does it mean? It means that we are rejecting the null hypothesis while there are 65% chances that it is true, right? So in normal practice, p-value is accepted when its value is around 0.01 or 0.02, 0.03 or 0.05 or 6, right? This is normal practice. If p-value is more than 10%, if p-value is more than 0.10, it is not accepted. It is the suggestion from all econometricians, it is the suggestion from all researchers that we accept the p-value till 0.05 and in some cases 0.10. More than 0.10, it is not accepted. It means that we are rejecting null hypothesis while it is true, right? And similarly, p-value I have explained. So when for any coefficient, right? Again we are coming to the coefficient. For example, for fixed capital, the value of coefficient is 0.231, right? If for 0.231 p-value is more than 2 and p-value is 0.05 or less than this, it means that fixed capital has significant impact on output. And how much this effect is? It means if 100 rupees of fixed capital increases, understand, if 100 rupees of fixed capital increases, 23 rupees of GDP will increase, right? Same is for exports and same is for 0.02. So with the help of p-value and t-value, we arrive at a significant result, and this is the conclusion of our equation. So now we are ending this video. Thank you very much. I hope you will understand. Now I am uploading this video on our Google Classroom. If you have any question, you